guys, welcome to the Honeybee Knits podcast channel. My name is Melissa and I am the host of the Honeybee Knits podcast. I have been tagged by the wonderful Brooke Knits from A Knit Sold podcast for the 4 questions, 3 answers challenge. So the first question is, name 3 podcasters that inspire you. Second question is, name 3 things that you're excited about. The third question is, name 3 things that you're good at. And the last question is to tag 3 additional podcasters. So I'm really excited to do this. I thank you so much for tagging me, Brooke. This is the first time I've been able to do a video like this. So let's get started. 3 podcasters that inspire me. So the first one is Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. She was the first podcast I had ever watched, and I was addicted. I literally this has kind of started my fascination with going back and watching podcasts from the very beginning. I went back and I watched all of her episodes, which, lucky for me, she only had about 10 to 15 at the time. And I was very inspired by her, not only because I think the main thing that I was most inspired to begin with was her ability to work with color. She would take these colorways and she would hold them up together in balls, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna work out, Mina. And then she would knit the project, and it was the most gorgeous project I've ever seen. So that was the first thing that attracted me to her podcast. The second thing that attracted me to her podcast was that she was a new knitter, but she had already knit several cardigans and sweaters and shawls and socks and everything, and she'd only been knitting for like a year or 2. I have been knitting since I was 8 years old, and I just started knitting things like that about 2 or 3 years ago. So if that tells you how impressive that is to me, because I had been knitting for years and only knit blankets and scarves and booties, and so she basically inspired me to keep going with my knitting and challenging myself, and to keep trying new things. The second podcaster that inspires me is Marsha from Fairy Little Podcast. So she is another one I have been watching from the very beginning. When she first started, she podcasted with her sister Scylla, and since then Marsha has gone off on her own. Scylla's too busy trying to become a doctor to podcast anymore. But Marsha was another one who was a newer knitter. When she started podcasting, she had only been knitting for months. Like, not even a year, months. And Scylla had been knitting for years. Marsha had been crocheting for years. And I thought their podcast was different to begin with. So they kept it light. They kept it funny, but most importantly, they were themselves when podcasting. Even if some of their banter seemed, I don't want to say childish, because it wasn't childish, but like, not immature. I'm trying to think of the right word and not it be in a negative light, because it wasn't. It just was different than what you would expect an adult to act like. And I feel like as podcasters, a lot of time when we're putting something out into the world, we want to be professional and poised, and because we don't want people to judge us. But they didn't care. They were themselves, and that's what I loved about that podcast, and that's why I kept going back. Even though I wasn't like as into some of their beginning projects as I am now, and Marsha's projects are fantastic. She designs now, Mina, just like Mina. So anyway, I was very inspired by them to be myself, be true to who I am, and put myself out there no matter what other people think of me. So the third and final person that I am very inspired by is a newer podcaster and a newer friend to me, and that's Levi from WTF Knitting. So over the past several months, Levi and I have developed a very good friendship, like a very close friendship. We talk to each other every single day, and honestly, if I go a day without talking to him, I miss him. And it's just weird. It's like he's been my best friend since high school, but we've only been friends for a few weeks or a few months. And as far as the part of him inspiring me is he keeps me going in my knitting. So, you know, when I get tired or I get anxious or I get bored with something, he encourages me to keep going. He is 100% himself. He's another podcaster who's not afraid to put himself out there, who says and that's one thing that really, really drew me to his podcast in the very beginning, before I started talking to him one-on-one, was the fact that he says whatever he's thinking. He doesn't hold back because he's afraid somebody will judge him, and I love that about him. And I want to be more like that because I am a people pleaser. A lot of times I will do something because I want people to like me, even if it's something that I don't want to do, or if it's something I disagree with. I've been the type of person in the past where somebody will be saying something that I'm not agreeing with and just going and going and going, and I don't challenge it. Just because I don't want to lose a friend, or I don't want that person to be mad at me. And one of my biggest fears in life is people being mad at me or people not liking me. So, before I met Levi, I had definitely grown as a person into being the type of person that will be able to stand up for myself and challenge and things like that. But until I became friends with him, I didn't really say what I was thinking all the time. I definitely would hold back. And I'm starting to realize that there are exceptions. I don't want to be a bully, and I don't want to offend anybody. But if something is bothering me, I'm going to talk about it, even if it bothers somebody else. So, and I've got that. I feel like I've always been that way, like with my closest friends, like my husband. He's my best friend. So I've always been that way with my husband. But not a lot of other people. I would vent to my husband constantly, and he would say, "Why don't you just tell the person how you feel?" And I'm like, I can't do that. They would be mad at me. So Levi has helped me to basically reinforce the fact that it is okay to say how you feel, and it is okay to talk about some things that might be a little more sensitive topics, as long as you're doing it in a respectful way. And he just inspires me to be more open and out there, and encourages me with my knitting. He gets excited for my projects. So when I was talking about casting on the 24-hour sweater, he was excited that I was doing it, and he would ask for updates. And so Levi, and if you know Levi, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that's the third podcaster that inspires me. The second question is 3 things that I am excited about. So, I struggle with this because I guess it's just 3 things you're excited about. Okay, so for me, I'm going to go with right now in this moment, what am I excited about? So number 1, my husband coming home. He's away on a DC trip. He's only gone for a few days, but I'm already looking forward to picking him up from the airport late tomorrow night. So I'm excited for him to hurry up and get his trip over with and come home. Number 2 that I'm excited about is my knitting. I can't even narrow it down to one project right now. I have so much on the needles, and you'll see that on this week's podcast, and I'm excited about I want to knit every single one, and it's just sad because I don't have enough time. So I'm excited because I'm knitting my husband a sweater that I want to have mostly finished before he gets back. I'm excited because I'm knitting myself 2 sweaters, the bubble pullover and the honeycomb cardigan. I casted both on. Who am I? I literally hem and hawed for years over casting it on a sweater. And I just did my first one right before Easter this year. And now I've got 2 more on the needles for me and 1 on the needle for my husband. Come on, I'm so excited about sweater knitting. I'm excited about the West Knits knit along. My colors are blending so perfectly thanks to Levi, because he talked me into colors that I love and I want to go together, but I was like, I don't think everybody else will think that they look good together, so I wasn't going to. And he's like, just do it. It's what you like. It's you. Do it. And so I did it. And it looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get to the third color, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about my Boo Knits knit along because the second and third clue came out this week, and it's got beads, and I love beading. So and then the third thing that I'm excited about, and this sounds so stupid, but I'm a collector. In case you can't tell, I collect yarn, and before that I collected keychains, and before that I collected pennies, and I'm a collector. And the You Are Here Starbucks mug collection that I just, like, it's been out for years and years and years, and I guess I just never paid attention, but I just found them a few weeks ago, and I have been trading, and I am so excited to get those mugs. I love doing these mug swaps. I love when they come in the mail, and it's from, the fact that it's from one of you guys, and it's from a completely different state or country, thousands of miles away, is so cool to me, and it's so awesome that I've been able to connect with you guys and organize that. So I'm excited for the ones that I've got going out and coming in, and I'm excited for ones to come. So if you want to swap, let me know, and I'll let you know if I have that mug or not, and we can do a swap. So those are 3 things that I'm excited about, and as trivial as that's what my life is right now. So that's what I'm excited about. Third question is, name 3 things that you're good at. So I would say that I'm good at knitting. I'm really good at knitting because I'm able to challenge myself, and if I don't understand a pattern, I'm good at figuring the pattern out. So 100% knitting is my number one, and that's why I do it, is because it makes me feel accomplished. I feel good when I'm knitting, and I feel so accomplished when I finish a project, and I'm good at it. I am good at knitting. The second thing that I'm really good at is talking. I can talk. If I'm not in a talking mood, then something's wrong. I am a really good, I want to say I'm a really good communicator, and for the most part I am. But because I am good at talking, I'm good at my job. I'm good at having friendships. I'm good at, conversations with my family and my dad. I talk to my dad all the time, and I'm good at talking to people. If somebody just needs somebody to vent to, I'm good at listening. So, just that whole aspect of communication I'm good at. The third thing I'm good at is spending money. I am excellent at spending money. I can spend money like no other's business. And it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but I'm good at it. So I really had to try to rein it in the last couple of months because my addiction is knitting and all things associated with knitting, including tools and yarn and all kinds of stuff. So I know that I've still had a lot of acquisitions coming on the podcast, but I've actually been better about the amount of money that I'm spending. If you'll notice, I bought 6 sweater quantities worth of yarn, but I only paid about $200 total for 6 sweaters. Whereas before, I would have got indie dyed yarn and probably spent $1,000 for 6 sweaters. So I've been really good with the total amount of money that I've been spending. It has definitely decreased in the last several months. Even though my acquisitions haven't changed, I have become more so of a thrifty knitter. I wouldn't say I'm a thrifty knitter because I still enjoy the expensive yarns. They get me excited. So I still like the Cozy Knitter and nomadic yarns and all the fun indie dyers out there. So I still splurge. But the overall amount of money that I've been spending has decreased, which is good. And I've been able to focus that money more into my business and my shop, and as a result, I have some really exciting stuff coming up. So, yeah, that's the third thing I'm good at. So, the final question is to tag 3 other podcasters for the challenge. So, I'm going to tag, of course I'm going to tag Levi from WTF Knitting because I want to hear his response to these questions. So Levi, consider yourself tagged. And then I am going to tag Alicia and Laura from Knit for Brains podcast because I think it'll be fun to hear a duo's perspective on these questions. So you guys have been tagged. And then I'm also going to tag another duo, which is Amanda and Kelly from the Yarn Bars, and they are newer podcasters, so I kind of want to hear their perspective on these questions as well, considering they're coming into the YouTube world with fresh eyes. So you guys have been tagged. So all 5 of you have been tagged. So I want to hear your responses. So make sure that you record your little videos next time you do your podcast and you answer the question. So I'm excited to watch and hear what you guys have to say. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this. This is just something fun that Brooke had tagged me for. And thank you so much, Brooke, for tagging me because it really gets me to think about knitting goals and why I'm knitting and why I'm podcasting and just this community in general and how I want to contribute to the community. So it was a lot of fun to do, a lot of fun to think about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, I will see you guys soon because I'm getting ready to record a podcast. Yay. Okay, so see you guys later. Bye.